Hello everyone. In the last session we were studying about the transcription. So the transcription, we have come across the structure of transcriptional unit, right? So today I am going to give a detailed account on transcription, how the process begins, how the process elongate and how the process terminate, and after terminating what synthesizes, and in that we are going to study the number of concepts. So the transcription, let me write that, transcription unit and the gene. You know what is gene? It is a heritable material which inherits from one generation to other generation. What is transcription? Transcription, it is a word where the DNA, it is that it means the DNA, and when it synthesizes the RNA, that to mRNA, the process is known as transcription. So I have written here the mRNA. What is mRNA? mRNA is known as messenger RNA. Right. How many types of RNAs are present? We have in this POC, we have 4 RNAs: ribosomal RNA, hnRNA, heterogeneous nuclear RNA, and T transfer RNA. So the 4 types of RNAs are present, right? So as I told you, the structure of transcriptional unit, it got it got 2 strands. One strand meioty is from 5 prime to 3 prime like this, and one more is 5 prime to 3 prime like this. On the strand, it got one region known as promoter region, and one more region it got, so that region is known as, that gene is known as terminator gene, terminator region, and this region is known as structural gene or structural region. Right. So what will happen in the process? In the process, the RNA polymerase binds to this promoter gene, and slowly it takes away, it keep on moving. When it reaches to the terminator region, it detaches from this double-stranded RNA, synthesizing a strand of RNA. So that is the thing we learned in the last session. Actually, it need some of the subunits known as, the one is enzyme, no doubt, that enzyme is RNA polymerase. I'd like to tell you something, some description related to RNA polymerase. In prokaryotes, only one RNA polymerase is present. That RNA polymerase will be synthesizing the tRNA, mRNA, rRNA and all. But in eukaryotes, it got 3 RNA polymerase. One RNA polymerase, RNA polymerase number 1, RNA polymerase number 2, and RNA polymerase number 3. So these are going to synthesize, or these are responsible to synthesize the tRNA, mRNA, hnRNA and rRNA. And the RNA polymerase 2 is the one, or this is the one enzyme polymerase, RNA polymerase 2. This is responsible for the synthesis of mRNA. Okay, we are talking about the RNA polymerase II when we start this process. And with this, it got two subunits known as, remember, RNA polymerase II, sigma factor, rho factor. Let me write that. Let me write the full name of this: sigma factor and rho factor, necessary for the transcription. Okay, so we are going to start the process in detail. Alright, so we have a promoter region and a terminator region. In between that, structural region is present. The RNA polymerase, it recognize the starting point when it binds or when it attaches to this promoter region with this, the sigma factor. The sigma factor, it also, or this factor attaches or binds to this RNA polymerase or to this structure. Alright, so what is the function now? What is the function of sigma factor now? It responsible to initiate the transcription. It is responsible to initiate, just initiation. It will just come and bind to this structure, or it will just comes and binds to the RNA polymerase enzyme. After that, number of nucleotides come and attaches to this complex unit. After that, the RNA polymerase, when it start moving towards the structural gene, this sigma factor falls off. When it start moving towards the structural gene, the rho factor come and attaches to the RNA polymerase. This means what? The rho factor, it elongates, it helps in the elongation and termination of the transcription. Is that clear? Now, so the RNA polymerase enzyme, it is moving in this way on the template strand. We have to remember this also. And how the strand will be, the moiety of the strand is like you just think this is the strand, and the moiety or the polarity of the strand is 5' to 3'. Okay, like that it should lead its strand. So how long, it will be keep on moving on the strand, taking the nucleotide strand, mRNA strand with this. The rho factor is also moving in this way. Okay, like this it will keep on moving. So this is the RNA polymerase. It is keep on moving on the template strand, and rho factor, this is also responsible for the elongation of the chain. Meantime, the mRNA nucleotide one by one coming and elongating with these two factors. When the RNA polymerase, it reaches to the end point, terminator region, it will just separates from the DNA strand. The RNA polymerase II separating from the DNA structure. The Rho factor also gets separate from this structure. Finally, what we have? We have the single strand of RNA having the polarity like this. Alright, so it is known as initiation, elongation and termination. So this is the simplest way of teaching you the transcription. But in the book they have given the strand like this. Like this they have given the strand, and here the strand got uncoiled. There the transcription RNA polymerase and Rho factor, it got attached to the DNA strand. How long it elongate on the DNA strand? The DNA strand get uncoiled like this, like this. Okay, so it means what? Here uncoiling occurred means here the RNA polymerase, it started moving throughout the DNA strand. Consider here promoter gene is present, here terminator gene is present, in between these two structural gene is present. So from the promoter gene, right from the promoter gene till that terminator gene, the process continues. They have shown like drawing the double stranded DNA. Okay, so this is how the initiation, elongation and termination process occurs. Now my concept is, we got the RNA. Do it have only the essential part, functional part? Because this RNA, it should further synthesize the protein. Do it have all the essential part, content, or it got any non-functional part? To understand that better, we are going to understand about the like, for example, so consider this RNA strand, newly synthesized RNA. Alright, now that RNA is considered as immature. It got, or it is known as split gene, or it is also considered as split gene. Why so? Because on that strand, on this strand of newly synthesized RNA, it got some part which is non-functional. Just consider, this part is known as non-functional and this part is known as functional. This part is non-functional and this is functional. This is non-functional and this is functional. Non-functional, functional, like this it has. What it will do? So having two different parts on the RNA, it is known as a split gene. So what is this non-functional, functional, non-functional, functional? The non-functional part is known as introns. The functional part is known as exons. The exons are ready to code. It is an expressing, or it is a part which is ready to code further. It means what? What should RNA do? The RNA should synthesize the protein. So which part is synthesizing, which part is coding? out of this, like in this RNA, the exons are the part, or the exons are the functional part which is going to code or which is synthesizing the proteins. So then what is introns are doing here? So what is the necessity? It is intriguing, it is disturbing the RNA. It has to move away, it has to come out from this RNA strand. So here the newly synthesized RNA is known as heterogeneous nuclear RNA because it got two parts, two functional parts, two parts like non-functional and functional. That's why it is known as hnRNA, immature RNA. It is not ready to synthesize the protein. What should it do? It has to take away, it has to take away this non-functional part from this strand. What will happen if you just imagine these non-functional part introns, if it has taken away, consider just consider like it forms a loops on the strand. It means what? The RNA from the hRNA, the non-functional part is being like taking away, or it is getting separate. When it gets separate, it forms a loop. And then when just imagine one thread having number of non-functional or not essential part on your thread. When you want to cut that thread, just imagine you are doing the thread like this. When you do like that, the non-essential part is forming a loop-like structure. That loop-like structure, further it forms a circle on the strand, on the RNA strand. So first the non-essential part, it has to come out from this strand. Some triphosphate adenine and adenine triphosphate molecules, some those kind of molecules, what will happen? It will take away the non-essential, the non-functional part from the RNA. When it moving away, or when it coming out from the strand, first forms a loop-like structure, and then later on it forms a spherical or circular structure on the strand. These spherical structure are the introns, a non-functional part. It is disturbing the RNA to further synthesize the protein. Now when these get separate, it will go further, and we don't want that. It will just move. We have only the exon regions. We have only the exon region, exon part, the functional part. Now having only functional part, that RNA is known as mRNA, the messenger RNA. So this is how splicing, capping, tailing takes place. One more thing to tell about the polycistronic and monocistronic concept. The polycistronic concept, or this is the process where, just imagine one prokaryotic cell. Prokaryotic, I am telling you. In the prokaryotic cell, it got DNA. Okay, so on the DNA, double helical model of DNA, double stranded DNA, it got number of places or areas to synthesize the RNA. Okay, so these number of coding sequences, coding areas, the prokaryotic DNA have, that process or that type of cistrons are known as polycistrons, available only in prokaryotic cell. But in eukaryotic cell, it got only one place. Consider this is a double helical model of DNA. It got only one place known as promoter, structural and terminator gene. Out of all DNA strand, it got only one area where the mRNA strand synthesizes or the RNA strand synthesizes. So having only one cistronic or one coding area in the eukaryotic cells, the process is known as monocistronic. Now the cistrons are known as, what is cistrons now? How we can define the cistron? Cistrons are the sequences or the areas on the DNA sequences where it is going to synthesize the polypeptides. So we learned about the cistrons, about the polycistronic region, about the monocistronic region, and about the detailed account on transcription and how the hRNA synthesize or it changes to mRNA, what are exons, what are introns. So these are very important. If you have any doubts, ask me, because this is a new concept, new chapter for you. It will become it will become very difficult to understand in one shot. If you have any doubt, just message me or call me. I'll repeat it once again. And remember, the diagram you should follow from the NCERT book that I'll give you in the PDF notes. Don't worry about that. Only to only to make you understand, I have drawn a simple form of diagram. Okay, so I'll give a detailed account on the diagrams or detailed structures and all in the PDF notes. So in the next session, we'll move on to the next concept, that is genetic code. So till that,